So today I'm going to do something different. I need to fix some Midway Space Invaders boards, and I've never fixed Space Invaders boards before. I've never even really seen one. Honestly, I've played them when I was a kid, but I'd never actually seen the board set. Besides, in the arcades when I was a kid. Um, so normally I just jump into showing you fixing stuff, but I want to show you how I tackle the problem of figuring out all the relevant information that I often just have when I go to fix boards. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So I have a Space Invaders board. I need to figure out, I'm going to go to fix it, but I want to figure out some things. I need to figure out information about the ROMs, and I need to figure out information about the RAMs. And I also need to figure out what CPU it uses. All right, so let's figure out how to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to MAME because MAME is amazing. It gives you a lot of information. So I'm in my MAME directory, and I don't even know what the Space Invaders driver is, so or the game name is. So in MAME, I'm just going to type MAME64 and then space in something that sounds like Space Invaders. Just give it something that it can key on. And what it will do is it will give me some. It'll tell me that that game doesn't exist, Space Eye, but it'll give me games that match. So I just looked at the list, and here we go. It's Invaders. Space Invaders, and I assume that's for Midway. Okay, Invaders. So that's probably what I want. So now that I know that, I want to figure out the CPU and the ROM and RAM information. Do this, I'm going to actually use online the MAME source code. They have the source code for MAME has all kinds of information about the games itself. So I need to figure out what the source code file is, the driver file. And I can do this again with MAME. So what I do is MAME64 and then list XML and the name of the game, Invaders. I'm going to do a output to a file, invaders.txt. That just means greater than, and then this file name means that whatever it's going to show me to the screen, don't show it to me, just write it to this file. So I do that, and now you see I see no output. I'm going to type write invaders.txt. The reason I see no output is because it's now in this file. And write is the WordPad program. I don't know why they don't call it WordPad, but that's what it is. Write invaders.txt, and I need to know the CPU information. So if I go down to the bottom, I'm going to find out. Here we go. Okay, so the looks like the CPU information is where is that CPU information? Oh, there it is. Chip type CPU, main CPU name 8080. So it's the Intel 8080 chip. Okay, so just look for the chip type equals CPU and then find out that. Now I know the CPU, so I can choose the fluke pod that I need to use. I happen to have an 8080 CPU pod, so great. While I'm here, let's figure out where the ROMs are. So I look for ROMs where it says ROM name, and I see here we have, looks like 4 ROMs that are in the region of main CPU. I want to look for ROM name and main CPU. Okay, so everything that's the main CPU I want. So we have invaders.h.g.f.e. That usually refers to some location on the board. This number, like, or there's a letter H, G, F, E. The size is 2048, which is 16K bits, so it means it's probably going to be a 2716 or 2516 chip. Either way, it's the same pinout basically, so that's fine. So I'm going to need 4 2716s that I know are working, assuming that they don't work. But when I go to test them, I know it's a either 2617. I'm sorry, 2616, 2716. Ooh, can't speak today. I know that the game code, the ROMs start at offset 0, and each one is the size 2048, which is 800 hex. A 2716 is going to be 800 hex addresses. So it's going to go from 0, then the next one's going to be 800, then 1000. Remember, we're in hex, and 1800. So my ROM space is from 0 to 1 FFF. Okay, so I got my CPU, I got my ROM information. I also have the ROM files if I need to, pull these down from the MAME archives. If I want to test the ROMs, I want to pull them from the machine at any point to make sure the ROMs are good. So I got all that information. I'm going to write all that down. Write the ROM names, their offsets, and what chip they use probably. I got my CPU information, which is the 8080. And now I just need to find the RAM file. So to find the RAM information. To find the RAM information, you can often look at schematics. I already looked at the schematics. They're not in there. Well, you could actually decode the schematics and figure out the address selection circuitry. However, MAME will usually tell you this too. So I'm just going to get it from MAME. What I need to do is find the information that says source file. I'm going to need this file name, MW8080BWCPP. So I copy that, and now I'm going to go to close my browser down, or close WordPad. I'm going to go to Chrome. I'm going to switch into incognito mode. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I just do. It's a habit. www.mamedev.org is where I want to go. I'm going to click on Fork Me on GitHub here. Then I want to click on source, MAME, drivers. Then I'm just going to paste a / and then that source file that I looked up, mw8080bw.cpp, and good. I have it. And I'm just going to look for information about the RAM. And already, usually at the beginning, you'll see something like this. Sometimes it'll tell you directly addresses. Sometimes it'll show you something like this. It's showing me the main CPU address space. And it's showing this to me only 15 bits of the 16-bit address space because it doesn't use the high bit apparently. And it's showing me that anything where the address bit is 14, I'm sorry, where address bit, actually this is technically address bit 13. Because you start counting at 0. So the 14th address bit, which is A13, is 0. That is ROM. Okay. So basically that's saying if it's less than, or if it starts out with 0, and we can ignore this, anything to the left here. If it starts out with where the address bit 13 is 0, 0 to all F's, where all those X's are F's, that's the ROM, which we already found out that is true. That's 0 through 1 FFF. Okay, we write that out. And then video RAM, where the address bit 13 is 1, where address bit 13 is 1, and the X's means it doesn't matter. Oh, well, this means it's all in the RAM range. So address 1 and then 13 zeros through 1 and 13 ones is going to be the RAM range, and that's going to be 2000 hex to 3FFF hex. Great. Now I have all that information, and I can actually go and start checking plug my fluke in, assuming that the voltage and I have a voltage, a reset signal on a clock frequency, and I can start doing RAM and ROM tests. That's it for today. If you like this video, please click on like, and join me for the next time I do a repair video, which I'll probably be repairing one of these Space Invaders games.